All right, folks, it's that time of the week again. If you clicked on this video and you're not sure exactly what to expect, once a week we try to answer some comments on the channel from our regular viewers and other people who have commented on our videos throughout the week. So if that doesn't sound like something you're interested in listening to, watching, totally understand if you click off the video right now. If you're still with us, we're going to jump right in. Our comment monitor is still out, so I'm going to be just clicking on each individual video that we've released over the last week and picking a few top comments. I don't have a lot of time today, so it probably won't be as many comments as we usually do, but I'm going to try to get through as many as I can here. All right, so first off, on our last comment video, we've got Racing 2 Cat, one of our regular viewers, says, "Thanks for being here for us, Cole. Cat, permanent EOV member." Thank you, Cat. I appreciate that. If you don't know what the EOV is, you're going to have to stay with us through this entire thing. Dorrit Rosen says, "This was fun and informative to watch. Thank you, and thank you for mentioning my comment. That was very kind of you. Absolutely. Thank you for commenting, Dorrit. I appreciate it so much. I'm now a happy member of your EOV club and look forward to your reaction to Avi's powerful Get Down." Thank you, Dorrit. Appreciate that. Coca Hall 3513 says, "Thanks, Cole. EOV, yay. Looking forward to more Avi. Cheers." Thank you so much, Coco. Appreciate that. Heather Ward, and if I mispronounced that, I believe I've apologized for this before, but I do apologize again. Says, "Thanks for these videos, Cole. So looking forward to more Avi. EOV club." Thank you, Heather. Very much. Appreciate that so much. Peggy Miller 2475 says, "EOV, love that you do these. Love your comments and insights." Thank you so much, Peggy. Appreciate that. Carol Burnett, another one of our regular viewers, says, "I second reacting to both the live and lyric videos for Skull and Bones." Okay, although the lyric video has another verse in it, the vocal power is showcased in the live. Gotcha. EOVC rules. Yes, yes, they do. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Brenda Sorensen says, "Also like the idea of reacting to both the live and lyric version of Skull and Bones." Gotcha. There's enough going on in the song videos to spend all day commenting on. EOV Club. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. And yeah, I'll be looking at that. I may actually put that as a hybrid on our Patreon polls for the live and the current lyric video that's out, and we'll see what that gets on Patreon. Valencia the Queen, this is another regular viewer of our channel, says, "Thanks for the shout out, Cole. I'm a member of the EOV Club." Thank you, Valencia. I appreciate that. 5th Gen Texan says, "Yay for EOV Club." Thanks, Cole. Thank you, Texan. Appreciate that. Stephanie 3230 says, "If you were only doing Avi EP's albums, you'll miss a lot of his singles that he has released. Unfortunately, they're not on his albums." No, I'm actually not, Stephanie. I'm doing the singles as well. In fact, I've got one. I think it'll be, it's my computer balance here. I think I've got one in 2 weeks. I think I've got a single that I reacted to of his that we've already filmed. It should be out in a couple of weeks. I plan on getting to his entire catalog, not just the EP and albums, but the EP and albums are on Patreon. And then the singles, some tracks off of those will be on YouTube, and then the singles will be on YouTube as well. All right, let's see here. Shirley Moffitt 3338 says, "EOV for Avi. Thanks for reading out my comment. Another YouTube reactor has several times favorably compared Avi with Gordon Lightfoot. Do you agree with him?" Yeah, I can totally see that. Again, Gordon Lightfoot, I apparently know more of his catalog than I thought. So far, I've listened to 3 of his songs, 2 of which I already knew, one of which I didn't even end up doing a reaction to because I ended up hearing it before I had a chance to do a reaction, but I already knew the song. And yeah, so far I can definitely hear that. That's a fair comparison for sure. Lynn Ramsey says, "I like the idea of reacting to the live and lyric videos of Skull and Bones." That looks like what we're going to have to put on the Patreon poll here. Maggie at Play, another great viewer, also a patron, says, "Yay, I enjoy these comment videos, even if I don't always comment on them. EOV Club." Thanks, Maggie. I appreciate that. Appreciate all the support you give the channel. Rod Connor, another great viewer of the channel, says, "Here's to staying part of the EOV Club. Be safe." Thank you, Rod. I appreciate that as always. Story Night Diner, who is one of our regular viewers and patrons, says, "EOV Club going strong." Absolutely. And this is actually the user that coined the EOV Club. Sag2Horses says, "I like the idea of putting both Skull and Bones on the reaction. That way we know you've seen both." Yeah, that definitely looks like what we're going to have to do here. And Karina Roderbach, another great viewer of the channel, says EOV. Thank y'all so much. All the EOV members, old and new, appreciate that. And that's actually all the comments on that video. So we got through all those. That's great. And making good time, 5 minutes. All right, so let's go through, and I'm probably talking way faster than what I'm realizing here. I do that. I'm trying to keep it fairly slow. This is the comments on the home free reaction to. Hold on, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. I think this was Some Girls Do. Yeah, Some Girls Do. And we've got top comments. Eric Potter, another great viewer of the channel, says, glad you enjoyed this song. Chance and Adam really showcased their talent in this enjoyable, catchy song. Their arrangement just superb and upgrade most of the covers they do. Another Chance song to consider is I Can't Outrun You, in which he directed the video. By the way, the girl in the video is Sammy, who is now his wife. You have a blessed day. Thank you, Eric. You too. Great info there. And I Can't Outrun You has been suggested a lot, so I'll need to put that on a poll soon. Elizabeth Ross, another great viewer of the channel, says, I guess when I said home free taught me to like country music, it was really modern country that won me over. But since then, 10 years ago, my understand of and respect for the more traditional artists have grown as well. Chance and Adam are definitely at the heart of this one. But those home free harmonies and ad-libs fill it right up to the top, and they are so good at mashing things together that didn't start out together. Thanks for your comments. Always enjoy them. Thank you, Elizabeth. Some great comment there. Itzel1735 says Sawyer Brown is a 4-person country band that won on the TV talent show Star Search in 1984. I guess that's modern country. Yeah. I actually found out that after I had done the reaction video, I was making what I thought was a reasonable deduction that Sawyer Brown was one person. And afterwards I found out, it was a band called Sawyer Brown. I was like, okay, well, hey, I didn't know. Everybody knows that I don't know country. And yeah, I do really consider, to me, I guess when I say modern country, I go from 90s, 2000s is where I start forward. And this song actually was the 90s. I'll end up looking it up after I'd done the reaction. But the 80s I consider like a transitional period, and that's also the period where I don't really listen to anything past 70s country, or have never really gotten into and like anything past 70s country. So for me, I guess, yeah, that is modern country. Nana Deborah says, Rob was the foremost background verse. He's just so smooth and blends in, though you know it's his voice. This is such a fun song with Sammy, Chance's now wife. Yeah, absolutely. Nancy Holter says, I like the addition of the 2 lines from Cruz in the middle as ad-libs. Home Free is really great at splicing songs together. I didn't even catch that. I don't know that song well enough. I did know that song before I heard Home Free do it, but I'm not. That's a bro country era song, and that's not really something I listen to. So thanks for letting me know that. I didn't know. I think this is going to be the last. I'll take 2 more comments on this video. P. Presley says, love it when Chance takes the lead. His voice is so smooth and smoky. He deserves more attention, in my humble opinion. Yeah, I love Chance. One of my favorites. And I actually knew Chance from Street Corner Symphony. They were on season 2 of the Sing-Alls. I knew him from there and didn't even realize that was him until I'd done my first home free video, and somebody, or maybe second, and somebody said, hey, that's Chance. He was on Street Corner Symphony. I was like, yeah, I know him. Jillian Drysdale, another great viewer of the channel, says, every time I see Home Free, I would love to spend time with them. I'm going to see them when they come to UK. Can't wait. Y'all, I bet that's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I need to look to see if they're coming to Mississippi. I'd love to catch a show. I'm going to take one more here. Columbe, another regular viewer of the channel, says, this one really impressed me from the start. So good, singable, 100%. Harmonies to die for as usual, and the beatboxing on fire. Agree 100%. Thanks, Cole. You rock. Thanks, Columbe. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to move on to the next video, which is going to be a voice play, I Can't Make You Love Me, voice play I Can't Make You Love Me, which was just phenomenal. Miles Yeager says, EJ sings with Voctive. That's right. Somebody had told me that before. I think somebody may have mentioned that on Patreon since I released this video. They have a ton of music too, and yes, EJ and Omar are brothers. They are super talented. Voice play is my favorite because they seamlessly add any guest vocalist, and they sound like they've always been part of the group. Talent beyond measure. They can do any genre, any style, and still make it their own. 100%. They're fantastic. Karina Rodebach says, one of my most beloved songs from Voice Play, Caesar's choice for them to sing. Jeff said he cried a lot during the editing, blaming those baritones. As he used to insist to call himself a baritone, I asked in the comments if he considered himself among those tear-invoking baritones, but he never answered that. Huh, interesting. He has stopped calling himself a baritone nowadays since we refuse to agree with him on that point and insist on calling him bass. No percussion, but finger snaps in the whole song. Yeah, it's funny. I remember whenever I first started reacting, people were talking about that he used to say he's a baritone has learned to sing in the bass range, and I would never have said that because he's got this bass voice is just incredible, earth-shaking. I've said this before, that he gets all the way down in the earth's core whenever he sings. Alona Dever, Alona, one of our regular viewers, and I have not seen a comment from Alona in a long time, so glad to see this here. Not that she hasn't commented, but I could have just missed it. EJ is Omar's older brother. He sings with another larger a cappella group, Voctive. You've reacted to everything that Omar has done with them. Okay, gotcha. Karen Wayward Son, Dragon Board Comes, and Dream On. All right. Except Superstition. Okay, so there is one more and some shorts. Yeah, I need to add Superstition. I'd love to hear that one. The only other one that EJ has done with them is Go the Distance. Okay, this was absolutely brilliantly done. It is the only one they've done where they weren't together at some point during the song. They filmed the closing on the back porch of the house at sunset, but it didn't fit with that haunting loneliness and sorrow. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and I meant to say something about that in the video, in the commentary. I was going to wait till I had a space at the end to do it, and forgot, and then after the video was already edited and posted, I was like, I want to say something about the isolation of each individual member, that was really cool, and forgot. But yeah, great. Thank you for mentioning it, Alona. Appreciate that. Christina Stromberg, another great viewer of the channel. I think this is the last one I'm going to take here. Says, a beautiful one which always moves me to tears. When Caesar sings Close for the first time, that chord is one of the most moving I've heard. In the section just after Jeff's solo, I just get chills, and then the tears start. So moving. Yeah, really, it was one of my favorites that they've done. All right, I'm going to move on to the next video, and it is... Oh, this is actually... Okay, this is actually not a reaction video. This is my band's cover of Wagon Wheel that we put up on YouTube from our new expanded version, the Long Path Home Expanded Edition, which is the full album version of an EP that we released. And this is Wagon Wheel. We got a few comments on here, so let's take a look here. Karina Rodebach says, bluesy harmonica and harmonies, what's not to love? Thank you, Karina. I appreciate that. Elizabeth Ross says, okay, another Bob Dylan derivative comes to light. First, Old Crow Medicine Show cranked it up with a bass fiddle and a definite Billy the Kid swagger. Absolutely. Later, Home Free threw out all the instruments and rocked it with Tim as the bass fiddle in a modern country sort of energy, and I've got to react to that. Now, Southern Gentry, a.k.a. Cole Powell, is rocking it again with lots of strings and a fabulous harmonica. Some classics live on, and I'm loving this latest reincarnation. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. And also, Southern Gentry, it's basically my band, but Kyle Graves, who is our producer on the reaction series, is involved heavily in this, played electric guitar on it. And my lovely wife, Brittany D., who sings lead on a couple of tracks on the album, and she's doing harmony vocals here. Couldn't have done it without them. And Zach Farnham, who was my drummer for a long time, performing live, actually recorded the drums for a lot of these songs years ago when we were still touring, and I finally was able to resurrect them. Zach's a great drummer. Love having his drums to continue to live on, even though we're not playing together anymore. Carol Burnett says, love it. You sound great, Cole. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Eric Potter says, hey, Cole, this is a very good cover. Love the banjo and harmonica in this. You have a blessed day. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate that. You have a blessed day as well. Maggie at Play says, excellent. I like the softness of this arrangement. Thanks, Cole. Thank you, Maggie. Bede Wright says, I love this song. I like the harmonica addition. Cool strings and sung sweetly. Thank you, Bede. I appreciate that. Glenn Derby says, I'm a sucker for good harmonica. Great job. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Pam Forrester. Pam, one of our great viewers, and I don't think I have gotten to Pam on this set, so I'm glad we're getting to Pam here. Says, I must say this is a good version. Thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. I love the Old Crow Medicine Show version. Now I just know I'm going to have the Darius Rucker version, a personal favorite stuck in my head. Absolutely. Oh, well, if that's the worst thing to happen to me today, I'm in good shape. As always, thank you for the video and commentary. Thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. And Rod Connor says, what's not to love? Nice, be safe. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate that. And a quick word, a lot of people have mentioned the Old Crow Medicine Show version. And here's Pam talking about the Darius Rucker version. Whenever we developed this on the road, whenever we were performing years ago, and I would be remiss if I did not also mention the inspiration of Matt Anderson, who has a phenomenal live version on YouTube. It was just filmed by an audience member. I would love to hear a studio cut of this or a good quality live cut of this. He inspired some of the changes that we made to our version. Also, Sam Mooney, good friend of mine, great artist. The guy's got millions of streams on Spotify now, used to play keys with us, and he helped develop some of the harmony parts and the slowed down intro to that song. So I want to mention both of those great artists. All right, we're moving on now to Don McLean Vincent reaction. That was a great, great song, one that I already knew and didn't even realize that I knew it. Eric Potter says, a beautifully and thoughtfully written song. It was also sung with such feeling and emotion that it told a great story. Cole, you have a blessed day. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Grace Parker, another regular viewer, says, I absolutely love this song since I first heard it way back then. I have just recently learned even more about Vincent's life. I already knew his fabulous paintings and death. It was like a full circle moment that you chose to react this. Yeah, isn't that something? The lyrics are especially poignant when you think of just how he really struggled to be alive and bring his talent to the world. Of course, that didn't happen until he was no longer alive, and that is the real tragedy. With greatness sometimes comes that deep depression that people seem to have, thinking they just aren't good enough. Don captures that angst in this song perfectly. Thanks for reaction, Cole. That great comment, Grace. Yeah, 100% agree. Carol Burnett says this has to be one of the most beautiful songs in existence. Don McLean had a way with lyrics and music. Thanks, Cole. 100%, Carol. And thank you for watching. Pam Forrester says, what a sad, soulful song. I always thought Don was underrated. He had a special way of telling a story. Thanks for the video and commentary. Thank you, Pam. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. Elizabeth Ross says, wow, this one really hits home. While music was a big part of my life, art was my career, this song was one of the last that I did with my guitar. My painting students and I took a breather in class one day to pull out our guitars and jam on Vincent all together. Nice! That's a great story. Many of my students, as well as myself, were still playing out the last days of the hippie years, so there were, and still are for that matter, lots of musically inclined art majors. Don McLean was an inspiration, another of my heroes. He probably didn't realize that he was teaching voice, art history, and poetry to those bright young artists. Thanks for your beautiful reaction. Thanks for that story, Elizabeth, for sharing that. That was great. Linda Nearing, another regular viewer of the channel, says, what a fabulous storyteller and composer. So poignant and touching. Great reaction. Thank you, Linda. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right, I'm going to move on to, I'm running out of time here. I'm going to move on to, I think this is going to be the last video. Yesterday's, yeah, Avi Kaplan, I'll Get By. And we've got Grace Parker says, I love the direction that Avi is going in. His voice is another form of velvet, soft and rich, 100%. His music is so different than what I initially expected from him, and it's fantastic. Same here. I'm happy to see that a songwriter isn't afraid to be spiritual in his lyrics. Me either. It says so much about the type of person he is and what he might believe in. Nothing wrong with praying. Humbling to remember we aren't alone no matter what we think. Great reactions always, Cole. Thanks. Grace, I agree with that 100%. I don't get a lot into my own personal beliefs unless it's directly related to something we're reacting to on the channel, but I could not agree more with what you just said about faith and prayer. 100% agree with that. Fifth Generation Texan says, I like how you're moving through his work from the beginning and progressing forward. One can really feel the depth of sadness he had when he first went solo, but now see the healing and light in his music today. Of course, some songs were written years, if not decades ago, but most are more recent. Thanks for the great reaction. Thank you, Fifth Generation Texas. I appreciate that. And yeah, this has been a really, really great trip with Avi's music going in chronological order. Maria Williams says, I think a lot of us can relate to this song. He actually carried real stones. Your reaction was good. The song marries up with The First Place I Go. I look forward to your next Avi reaction. The waterfall at the end is the one in the picture, and I think Avi's mother painted it. Nice, nice. Appreciate that information. And I think I'm going to take two more here. Charlotte Evan says, Avi co-wrote this song with Daniel Ellsworth, who had been the keyboard guy on his first solo tour back in 2019. And if you checked out the Sunset Sound live version, When I'm a Fool, you'll see that Avi brought Daniel in to play piano for the full 4-song session under the guidance of his album's producer, Shooter Jennings. I haven't gotten to that yet, but I hope to do that. And I do know Shooter, know some of his music as well, like what I've heard from him. The I'll Get By EP was produced by Mike Mogis, who plays bass, pedal steel, and mandolin on this track, with Ben Broden on organ and piano. Scott Seaver on drums. The opening part of the video was shot at Avi's cabin in the woods west of Nashville, and the other scenes are other areas near his property, including the waterfall, and it was indeed on location. As you delve deeper into the Dragon's Lair that is Avi's catalog, you'll see that he writes across genres, not limiting himself to one style. In fact, he loves doing alternative versions of some of his songs, changing key, tone, rhythm, whatever catches his creativity. In essence, he does covers of his own music. Yeah, that's some great information. I appreciate that. I like the production info you gave, and some on the video and the personnel. Really, really great. Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to take this last one here. This is from Pam Forrester. Pam's a great one to close out on. Says, more Avi perfection. Haven't heard this before. Going to give it another listen. Always happy when you have Avi for sure. He's pure soul. Can't wait for more Avi and hoping for some pentatonic soon. As always, thank you for the video and commentary. You do it right. Thank you, Pam, as always. And I just did Pentatonic Sound of Silence, and I think it's going to be it'll be out in 3 weeks, I believe, if we get everything cleared for YouTube. All right, that's going to do it. If you made it to the end of the video, you are now in our EOV club, in the video club. I appreciate all y'all who watched this, everybody who's liked the videos, who subscribed to the channel, who supports on Patreon. Would not be doing this without you. This probably would have been like a 3-month side project that I had fun doing if we had not gotten the support that we have from you. Can't thank you enough. This week we got one more reaction coming, home free, and let me see which one this is, because we're well in advance on what we've recorded. This is actually the Bruce Springsteen cover, Born in the USA. Monday we've got Voice Play, Daddy Sang Bass. Tuesday we've got Bruce Springsteen, Cover Me. Wednesday, Chris Stapleton, Allman Brothers cover, Whipping Post. And next Friday, one of my personal favorite songs that I have reacted to, and that is Home Free's version of the classic hymn, How Great Thou Art. So stick around, and we'll see you soon.